Viewers, today we bring you a tale of struggle and shattered parents from Maharashtra who are longing to see their daughter who's battling for life alone in the United States. 35-year-old Neelam Chinde is battling and struggling to hold on to a life in California. Hailing from Maharashtra's Satara, a student in US who was grievously injured after she was reportedly mowed down by a four-wheeler on the 14th of February in California. Now, she sustained several injuries to her head and chest and has suffered multiple fractures and even slipped into a coma. When her family came to know about this incident, they immediately approached for a visa in the United States. However, they only got a slot for next year. Now, the Ministry of External Affairs has stepped in, of course, local member of parliament also stepping in, and after they have contacted the concerned US authorities, the visa process has now been expedited, we're told, and as per the family, their emergency visa interview is scheduled for tomorrow. Let's quickly go across to Neelam's uncle, Sanjay Kadam. Let's speak to him. Sanjay Kadam जी, पहला सवाल क्या आप हमें बता सकते हैं किस तरह की स्ट्रगल है जो आपके फैमिली को देखना पड़ा है पिछले कुछ हफ्तों में?
हम गेली 10 दिन से अभी वीजा का प्रोसेस कर रहा था। गेली अभी 14 तारीख को वो अपघात हो गया। 16 तारीख से हम वीजा की प्रोसेस कर रहा था, लेकिन हमें कुछ ही मदद नहीं मिलती थी। हमें आज ही जाने हैं उधर।
और हमें ये बताइए, इस वक्त उनकी देखभाल के लिए कौन है वहां पे?
उसकी एक रूममेट है उधर, वो रूममेट ही वो उसको हेल्प करते हैं। हमारा ब्लड रिलेशन वाला कोई नहीं उधर, या खाली अकेली रूममेट ही है उधर।
आपसे एक सवाल ये भी पूछना चाहूंगा, भारत से हर साल लाखों स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो विदेश में पढ़ने जाते हैं और कई लाख ऐसे भी लोग हैं जो काम करने के लिए बाहर जाते हैं। क्या आप अपील करना चाहेंगे सरकार से कि कोई फ्रेश प्रोटोकॉल होना चाहिए ताकि जो खासतौर से स्टूडेंट्स के फैमिलीज हो, इस तरह की सिचुएशन में उनको अर्जेंट इमरजेंसी वीजाज मिले और इस तरह की प्रोटोकॉल बनाया जाए ताकि ऐसे इमरजेंसीज में वो विदेश में ट्रैवल कर पाए?
ऐसा जो इमरजेंसी होता है, हमें क्या है, जो इमरजेंसी आप जाते हैं, जो मिनिस्टर लोग और जो इतना बड़ा बड़ा आदमी जाते हैं, इसलिए जो नॉर्मल आदमी है, सिंपल आदमी, उनको ही जाना पड़ता है। ऐसा जो इमरजेंसी है तो उसको प्रोसेस होना चाहिए, गवर्नमेंट ने क्या करना चाहिए इमरजेंसी के लिए।
All right, let's take this across now. Thank you so much संजय कदम जी, और होप करते हैं कि आपको जल्द से जल्द वो वीजा मिले। हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। Let's take it across to our guest now. With us is Ashok Sajanhar, former ambassador. We also have Dr. Ravi Godse, president of the Pennsylvania Medical Consultation, joining us. Ashok Sajanhar, you know, it's a very, very heartrending story. You know, a middle-class family having to wait a fortnight when they really don't know about the fate of their daughter, who's unfortunately in a coma in Los Angeles. You know, it really speaks volumes about what we need to do as a country in terms of a system that needs to be evolved in terms of a protocol for such kind of medical emergencies in particular. How do you view this in terms of how we can address this issue?
Yeah, thank you very much, Madhav, for having me on the show, and my sincere sympathies and regrets to the families and to the near and dear ones of Neelam, who sort of suffered this very unfortunate accident in the United States and now has been lying in the hospital for the last 10-12 days. I think 14th of February she met with the accident, and 16th of February the parents in India came to know about it. I think basically, once the information, Madhav, is able to come to the Ministry of External Affairs, and we've seen over the last 10 years, particularly, I think before that also, but particularly over the last 10 years, the manner in which the government has sought to reach out to the Indian diaspora in every sense that, whenever there are problems, whenever there are difficulties, they will not only go that extra mile, but go this extra several miles to reach out, to connect with the host governments. You remember, when the students had to come back from Ukraine, when our people had to come back from Kabul, meaning they were in very difficult circumstances. And in Ukraine, in the neighboring countries of Ukraine, there were 4 or 5 ministers.
No, I agree with you on that. Certainly, of course, the government has gone the extra mile in several such difficult circumstances. But the point is, how do we address the concerns of those who are back home in India? And let me take that question across to Dr. Ravi Godse. Dr. Ravi Godse, as somebody who's in fact practicing medicine there in the United States, the question to you is, what happens to this kind of a situation? What can distressed families who are in this very difficult situation of their relative in the United States really do to ensure the safety of the near and dear ones?
Let me quickly say, if Mr. Sanjay, her uncle, if it is still connected, your
I'm afraid he's not connected with us, but we'll try and convey the message across to him. Go ahead, sir.
Your channel can share my cell phone number with him. He can pick up the phone, call me, and we'll help them take care of it quickly. Look, if I'm walking in a US hospital corridor, I cannot throw a stone without hitting 2 or 3 Indian doctors who are fluent in Indian languages. There are a lot of people like us here, and they will definitely help. I think the process, what I will say, few bad apples give really difficult name, because there are United States are like a lot of, I also work with the United States government as a green card doctor. So I examine people who are trying to apply to United States for immigration. And we hear stories that are like unbelievable. Somebody said that he was persecuted in India, so he was getting asylum. I said, persecuted in India? I mean, what country are you talking about? A friend of mine who was an immigration doctor has met people from China seeking asylum for Tiananmen Square riots who have never been to Beijing. So there is like, when the US government looks at it, there's like a lot of fraud and abuse. Now, obviously, this case is a genuine, and you have to have a mechanism to know what is genuine and what is not. But what I would say is, I've also dealt with the US Embassy in India. When the call comes from United States, so like any Indian doctor involved there in Sacramento, if that or the cops who are investigating the hit and run, if the United States cops pick up the phone and then they call the Indian embassy, that will carry way more weight if the call comes from Washington. And I'm going to say something that is not very popular. The staff at the US embassy is mostly Indian born, Indian citizens. And I think they are the strictest when applying this law.
Okay, interesting point there. But let me bring in Mr. Sajanar. Mr. Sajanar, Dr. Ravi Godse is, of course, in the US. He's talking about what can be done from the US's side, whether it's the police, whether it's the health authorities there. But what can be done from the Indian side? I mean, of course, in this case, it's taking an appeal to the US Embassy to issue the emergency visa. But everyone might not be so lucky. What can we do as a system to evolve and ensure that there are, such avenues where even the commonest of people, are able to access or get this kind of help if they are in such a difficult situation?
Madhav, in our country, right now we are not living in a stone age. We are living in a, computer age. Everyone has sort of, access to internet, even if they don't have it, smartphones, etc. And you know that, the email ID of the External Affairs Minister is available, of the Office of the External Affairs Minister. You would recall, Madhav, that in the past, even when Sushma ji was the External Affairs Minister, and Dr. Jaishankar has continued that practice, you get either on Twitter, a tweet, or an email. The systems in the ministry immediately are, brought into action. And, and we, of course, the ministry has excellent relations with all the embassies. So, wherever, when a call goes from the ministry to any particular embassy, and particularly in such urgent cases, the wheels start moving very, very quickly.
Right. So I think we certainly hope, in fact, for all of those who may be, unfortunately, in such kind of difficult circumstances, the wheels do turn as quickly, and they do get, faster than this, given the fact that the families had to wait a fortnight, unfortunately. But Ashok Sajanhar and Dr. Ravi Godse, I'd like to thank both of you for joining us and sharing with us your perspective.